All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So we're going to get right into this lesson. It says, Black women's unemployment is rising fast and it's a bad sign for everyone. So it says in the caption right here too, over 300,000 so-called black women have lost their jobs. And the reason why it says so-called black women is because a lot of so-called black women are actually Israelite women. Now, of course, there will be the Southern Kingdom, if they're so-called black women. Now, let's skip to the next slide. It says, by mid-2025, unemployment for black women had jumped back up to 6.3%. That is nearly double the employment rate for white women at just over 3%, and 1.7 times higher than the overall U.S. unemployment rate of 4.2%. Between March and May 2025, black women's unemployment rose by a full percentage point while rates for most other groups stayed the same. Right, so what does this tell you? Well, this tells you that the deal Eve, the so-called black woman, made with Esau Edom, right, the so-called white man, is now starting to come for collection, right? You now have the lender coming for his debt, right? And Eve has put herself in a lot of this so-called debt. Now, let's skip to the next page. It says,
talking about how 300,000 black women were laid off from their corporate jobs recently. I didn't even know this was a thing until I posted a video that I got laid off, and then a bunch of the comments were like, yeah, it's a war on black women right now. There's so many getting laid off. And I still didn't believe it, so I checked, and there's literally a whole Forbes article on this. Like, this is so scary and concerning.
right. So these black women are getting laid off, right? So you had Eve being happy she was equal to a man. She got her little job, her little career job. And Esau gave her a little bit of what she wanted. And now he's kicking Eve to the curb. Next slide.
I think I'm about to get fired. Because they just put a random meeting on my calendar with HR. Girl, I know what that means. Just get it over with. Like, we just text it to me.
Is experiencing a moment of significant change. So this has to require us to manage the business.
Now, I'm going to skip to the point and say she was let go by HR. Skip to the next one.
I just lost my job today. No warning. No nothing. They wouldn't even tell me why. I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong. I have no savings. I have nothing. I just don't. I got in the exit interview and they said, today's gonna be your last day. My manager and my director was on the call. And then they were like, the decision has already been made, so we really don't have anything to hear from you. You're only gonna get paid for the one day you worked in August.
Alright, so she got let go, right? Next.
Came to the realization that I'm one of the 300,000. So when I came maybe 2 months ago and told y'all that I was unemployed, I'm switching to entrepreneurship, like I was so focused on what was happening to me, I didn't realize that this was literally happening to 300,000 women, black women across the country. We've been fooled. We've been bamboozled. We were told, get the degrees, get the education, get the experience, be professional, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, and you'll never be without. You'll be able to climb the ladder. They'll never be able to fire you. And then boom, 300,000 black women lost their jobs in the last 90 days. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. I know it's not going to sit right with anyone who listens to this, who has any empathy. I just came to the realization.
Right, so this was the same thing the serpent told Eve in the garden. Of course, clearly different, but the serpent told Eve that she'll be like God. She'll be equal to a man, right? And that she will not need a man, knowing, being able to know good and evil. So in this case, we have Esau, right, representing the serpent, basically telling Eve that she will be equal to a man, that she wouldn't need a man, and that she's better than a man, telling her all these things that she wants to hear. But these are all lies. And so now they're saying they were to get a college, get a career, climb up the corporate ladder, and now they're being kicked to the curb. Now there is no use for Eve no more, right? And I just want to say this. It says in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression, right? So Eve fell for the lie. Now, let's keep going. It says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 8, for the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was a man created for the woman, but the woman for the man, right? And that's what Eve doesn't get. Eve thinks she's so equal to Jake that she wants to dictate how Jake behaves. She wants to have control over the children. She wants to have control over the household. She wants to have all the power in the house, but that is not how Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah designed it. Yahweh designed it so that the man would have power over the woman, right? Now, let's get another scripture here. But before we get to that scripture, I'm going to read an article. Because a lot of these women think that Esau needs them. Esau doesn't need your woman. Esau only wanted to get to the man. No, Esau only needed to get to the man. And the way he did that was get to the woman. And I'm going to tell you why. Look. Iceland, woman strike, non-affected. Let's see. 24-hour. Slovakia, Iceland, strike. Slovakia, 24-hour. Trying to find the article, brethren. I believe it's right here. Says, okay, I think this is the one. Women across Iceland, including the Prime Minister, go on strike for equal pay and no more violence. Right. So, let's keep going. Read more. Oh, basically, I'll tell you what happened. So, what happened was you had a lot of women go on strike, right? But according to the strike, what ended up happening was, actually, I'm going to get it out. Iceland woman gone on strike, work not affected. As you can see, 100,000 women went on strike in Iceland, and nobody noticed. In matter of fact, Slovakia. It says right here, the last time this subject was posted, someone commented that HR department reported no complaints that day, and the CEO stated it was nice to get some work done. So, moving on from that point, you had 100,000 women go on strike. And when they went on strike, HR had no complaints, right? The economy still worked. It still kept going. Trains still kept moving. Restaurants were still functioning. Of course, you may have had some teachers be out that day, but for the most part, everything was functioning. This just goes to tell you that Esau doesn't need the woman, right? He just needs the woman to get to the man. Right? So it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 25, verse 24, of the woman became the beginning of sin, and through her we all die, right? So these women want to be equal to man, want to be leaders, but through the woman came sin, right? So basically the point of this lesson is that Esau is now done with Eve. Esau is now done with the woman. And you're going to start seeing a lot of women across the board, not just black, so-called black women, but a whole bunch of women in general, whether it be of the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, and even women of other nations, start to get laid off by Esau. Because Esau is now kicking the woman to the curb because now he has access to the man. And we're going to see a lot of these women regret falling for the lie that Esau told them. So this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect and elect and 144,000. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, and I thank you to the elders, apostles, and brethren who have helped teach me this truth, and Shalom.